Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the first part of my December wrap up. I've actually decided to split it into two videos because I read 10 books in December, which is a lot, and I do like to have a little chat and tell you what they're about, so I thought instead of it being like a 25-minute long epic video, I would do two smaller ones. So this video will be what I read in the start of the month, first 5 books, and then I will do a second video for the second 5 books because I like to do a wrap up in the order that I read them so that you can get a bit of a feel for what my reading month was like. Overall, as I said, I read 10 books. 5 of them were 5-star books for me, which is a really good reading month. I tend to be quite a harsh critic with books. A book to get 5 stars has to like absolutely sweep me up, have no flaws that I can see, and just completely like take me away. And usually if I give it 5 stars it's because I felt sad because it's over. So it was a very good reading month and I should probably just stop waffling and get on with it. So the first book I read this month was The Kept Woman by Karin. So I read, or have read, in the past, a lot of thrillers and a lot of quite dark books, and Karin is an author that's been recommended to me over and over again because gory, dark books don't worry me at all. So Karin, like I said, was recommended to me. This one I picked up at random. My mum actually lent it to me. It was in a pile of books that she was giving away, so I grabbed it and I was quite disappointed with it. I think I gave it 3 stars in the end. Mostly it just wasn't as good as I was hoping for. Now other people since I've read it have said that this isn't one of her better ones, and they've recommended other ones, and I've put one other one onto my TBR, so I will give her another go. But this it tells the story of, see, I've even forgotten the protagonist's name, which is not a good sign. Will Trent is part of the Will Trent series, and basically a crime scene's discovered. We've got a dead body, a dead cop, and then there's bloody footprints like walking away from the crime scene, and Will has to try and work out what's going on. It's told from his perspective and also from, it's difficult to kind of talk about without giving spoilers. It's told with a dual perspective, but I just didn't connect with any of the characters. I didn't really care. I didn't like the other character's perspective, and yeah, I read it quickly. It's really well paced, but I just didn't connect with it. Not for me. But I will try other Karin's Daughters, so we'll see how I go on with those. I then read, unusually for me in December, I read 2 books by the same author. I don't usually do that because I do try and mix my TBR up, but that happened to land this way this month. And the first book that I read by this author, which is Roxane, is Difficult Women. This is a collection of feminist short stories that she wrote, all written by Roxane. They are really tough to read. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 5 stars. It felt like, and I've said this before, I think I said this before when I read her novel, I just couldn't look away. I think my favourite one, there's a short story in here, oh I can't remember what it's called, but there's basically a short story about a woman who is married to a twin, and every so often her husband swaps with his brother and she pretends not to notice. There's just something about that was really powerful. I adored this. It was tough to read in places because a lot of it's quite brutal, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know if enjoyed is the right word for this kind of book. I appreciated it. I gave it 5 stars. If this is the kind of thing that you're into, or if it's something you don't have any experience of, I would highly recommend that you pick it up. Next was a surprise 5-star. I did not have high expectations with this book at all. I just thought, oh, it'll be just a standard thriller, just an easy read for the end of the year, and I ended up giving it 5 stars, and that was Friend Request by Laura Marshall. It was so unexpected. It's basically about a woman who she's separated from her husband, or she's divorced from her husband because he's remarried. She's got a young son, and then she gets a friend request on Facebook from a girl called Maria, which doesn't sound that unusual, but Maria's been dead for I think like 25 years, it says on the back. And I thought it was going to go one way, and then it went completely a different way. The ending, the last 100 pages, I literally could not put it down, and it just twisted and turned all over the place. I thought it was so clever. So if you're into kind of, I guess it would be classed as a domestic thriller technically, but it was really clever, and I will definitely be looking for more from this author. After that, I read a book that I had been looking forward to reading and I was quite disappointed by, which was The Sister by Louise Jensen. Again, this is kind of a domestic thriller. As a girl, what's her name? Grace. Terrible for names. And her best friend Charlie has died recently, and she knows that you kind of know that something's happened but you're not quite sure, and then a girl called Anna, basically Grace gets in contact with her, or she gets in contact with Grace. See, this is not a good sign that I can't remember the storyline, but basically turns up and says that she's Anna's sister, and then she moves in with Charlie because she needs somewhere to live, and then stuff starts happening. This, like I said, I think I gave it 3 stars. I really wanted to like it, but I just found Grace really whiny, and I don't do well with protagonists where I just don't like them. So this for me was fairly average. I mean, it's okay. I probably won't read any more by Louise Jensen. If there are others of hers that are better, let me know. But I kind of look for a bit more oomph from my main character. I realise that's not a very technical term, but I just didn't get on with her, and I find that tough when that's the only perspective that you get. Also, I thought that the twist, there is a twist at the end, I saw it coming for miles, which I hate, and I thought it could have done a lot more than what it did. So yeah, a bit disappointed. And then the last book that I'm going to talk about in this video was actually a reread, and I know I said in my 2019 plan videos that I actually didn't reread any last year, but that was a tiny lie because I forgot that this was a reread. A friend of mine reread it and talked about it on GoodReads, and I was like, oh, I've kind of forgot how much I liked it, so I decided to pick it up, and it was still a 5-star read for me. I read it years ago, I think, when it first came out, and that book is The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. It's quite a chunker. I'd forgotten how big it is. It is 527 pages, and the type is tiny, so when it arrived I was like, ooh, that's a much bigger book than I remembered. But it's just so good. It was my first Philippa Gregory that I read. I think I went through a phase of reading basically everything she'd put out, so I've not read anything for a couple of years, but I've read a lot of her back catalogue. This tells obviously the story of Anne Boleyn, but it's told from the perspective of her sister Mary, who in this book she's the younger sister, but I think in actual terms it's thought that she was the older sister. Gregory does play around with historical fact a little bit, which I know upsets some people. To be honest, it doesn't bother me. I love this as a work of fiction. It tells the story of Mary Boleyn. She was Henry's mistress, which is documented and is a known fact, before he got together with Anne. It's all about her life. I really enjoy her as a protagonist, Mary Boleyn that is. You get a different view on court life, and obviously we meet Henry VIII, we meet Catherine Aragon, we meet Anne Boleyn and her family, and we see everything unfold. And I just really enjoyed this. I read this in a couple of days, and I might look at rereading a bit of other Philippa Gregory books in 2019. So that's the first half of my December wrap up. The second half of this, I'm not quite sure when I'm going to put up. It might go up next Sunday, or it might be at some point in the week. We'll just see how my videos pan out. But I thought I would try and keep this short and sweet. So please have a chat with me in the comments below. What did you read in December? What did you enjoy? What disappointed you? Have you got any recommendations for me for what I should read next? And I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.